Hello, everyone. Hi, William. Welcome. I see some familiar names in the chat, which is awesome. Hi, Josh. We'll just wait a few moments here, and then we'll get started. We got Keegan in the chat as well. Keegan is our marketing specialist here at TimeZest. He's fantastic. You'll see all our LinkedIn posts. That is and our spiffied up YouTube videos. That's Keegan going in and working his magic. Let's see. Where's everyone coming from today? If you put in the chat. Michigan, okay. It's cold there. Texas, you guys had a little of our cold weather kind of come through. BC, awesome. Okay, well, let's get started. Oh, you're from Washington. I am originally from Washington, from Snohomish. Yeah, awesome. Wisconsin. Well, you guys, I am so excited you're all here. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and coming to listen to me talk about TimeZest, which I know there's some familiar names, so you've probably heard, some of you have talked to me, but my name is Johannah Strobaugh, and I'm a customer success manager here at TimeZest. And this is actually kind of a passion project for me. I've been teaching people how to use TimeZest for 4.5 years now, officially with TimeZest. So it's a lot of fun for me to help you guys get the most out of your investment in us. So Craig's here with me today. Craig, we brought on, it's been over a year ago now, and he's been working support for us. So if you're going into the chat box or emailing help@timezest.com, you're talking primarily with Craig now, which has been amazing. He's doing a great job owning that. And you'll also receive emails from him here and there from the customer success standpoint, offering assistance or checking in on your account. That's our goal, is to, like I mentioned, make sure you guys are getting the most out of it. And it's why we're here, right? So with that said, Craig's in Utah. And then I'm up in the mountains of Idaho. So we're both got that cold winter weather going on. So I'm gonna let you know preemptively, I've been fighting a cough for what seems years now, but it's if I pause, that's why. Okay. So let's get on with this. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about bringing TimeZest in for your sales resources. So we started off really strong, and our primary focus as a company when we first started was for your service desk, your help desk, that reactive relationship, working in tickets. And we know that that's not all what your business does. And so we wanted to kind of try to expand on this and give you more ways to use TimeZest in your system. Okay. And in your daily processes. So today I want to cover a few different areas of the system. It's not one feature. It's really a broad look at different features and how you can leverage them to set up your users and your teams that are more sales focused or are working not really in tickets, but maybe primarily out of their Outlook calendar, or even if you are working in tickets, we can make that happen too if it's, sales related. So let's take a quick poll. I'm watching the chat, you guys. Who is working sales out of 365, or are there those who have teams working sales in tickets? If you put it in chat real quick, helps me kind of gauge where we're at with people as well. And then I'm going to start sharing my screen and we'll talk through this. Both? Okay. All right, so we're doing a little bit of both. Are we using opportunities in our PSA? Okay, fantastic. HubSpot, yay, okay. Awesome. All right, so a while ago, I know that we released new features and it's easy when you have multiple programs to miss new releases. A while ago, we released an action in our workflow mode called, create an opportunity. So that's something I'm going to show you guys today. So let's get in here. We're going to start at the very beginning. It's a great place to start. If I can share my screen. Okay. Try to preload things a little bit here. We're going to start off with users actually. So we have a few different integrations, right? And actually we can pop over here to integrations. Excuse me. If you don't have 365 integration and you are a Microsoft shop, please turn this integration on. There's multiple reasons why. One, for our topic today, resources who work out of 365 can have appointment types that write directly to Outlook, and they don't have to work in tickets or create tickets in the PSA if they're not actually working in them, right? The other part of it is it allows us to read both your calendars at the same time to ensure we're not double booking anything, which is fantastic to have in place. I saw someone mention HubSpot. We do have an integration to HubSpot. This allows your meetings to actually be written into HubSpot. So you can have an audit log of those meetings that took place right there in HubSpot, kind of tying everything together. So if you're using HubSpot, that might be something to look into. I'm going to have Craig, while I'm talking, put documentation into the chat for you guys. This is being recorded and it will be put on the YouTube channel, which once Keegan works his magic on it. So give us some time on that and then you'll be able to access it there as well as previous recordings, okay? You'll also see we have Microsoft Teams in here and Zoom. So if you use those in your sales calls or in your one-on-one conversations with your customers or prospects, you'll want to set those integrations up so you can leverage them in your appointment types, okay? The reason why I mentioned that those integrations is once you get into the users, so I just went to users, we're going to go into Guy Rogers here. And we have under here calendars. And if you haven't been in here recently, it looks a little different than it used to in the past. And that's because we released Calendar HQ. If you haven't gotten it yet, it is slowly rolling out and it should be out within the next couple days to everyone. But it's this new tab here on the left. I digress. What we have here is this primary calendar selection. This is where you're going to choose, where is this resource working? Are they working in a ticket? Are they working in Outlook? That is what you want to select, okay? And then we will write the appointments to the appropriate location, okay? Now we can still read both calendars, which is important. We don't want to double book anything. I know many of you have syncs from your PSA to Outlook. I also know from experience of working with so many of you that there's delays to that at many times. So we want to avoid any conflicts, okay? So your salespeople that are working out of Outlook, or if you have owners or C-suite leadership, that are not really working in tickets, this is where you can change that setting for them. Okay. I'm going to jump down here because we're going to talk about this as well. This is our personal page. So we have personal and team pages. These are collections of shareable URLs. It's kind of the easiest way to describe them. They are specific to this person. So you can see Guy Rogers, his slug is in here. This is a link that can be embedded in a signature block. It can be made into a QR code and put on business cards or put on marketing materials. So we have it for the individual, but we also have it for teams. And teams is like our auto dispatching that we have in place. And I'll show you that here in a minute. But you're able to come in here and say, okay, for Guy, I want to show these types of, this is live demoing, people. Okay, I want to show these different meeting types. And this is used when there isn't already a ticket related to it. And you just want to be able to share a link. So we go to Guy's link here. Any day now. There we go. And you can see it lays out options for our customers to come in and pick what kind of meeting they need, right? And then you can also, I have this link handy. It's available. I use it in a template in Outlook, so I can just plug it into my emails. So that might be something you guys can use. But if I know, okay, this customer, I want them to only schedule this type, I can copy this and put it into my email as well. Okay? A little tip there. All right. Let's go back to TimeZest. That is our personal page. Like I mentioned, this is also available for our teams. So here we have our sales team West, and we have toggled on the appropriate appointment types for that team. Okay. And so this can be embedded maybe on a web page. Again, you can put it in signature blocks. If you don't want it going to one specific person, you could use the team and kind of auto distribute those meetings as needed. Okay. If you guys have questions, please go ahead and feel free to put them in the question and answer section, and then I'll answer those as soon as I take a breath, okay? Or once we get to the end, if it's not related. Okay, I hope we're all following from here. The next piece of this is your appointment types. And if you've been with us for any amount of time, you know that our appointment types are pretty feature rich. And so I wanted to point out a few things. I've set up two different appointment types here. One is in our classic configuration, which is the default view that you will see when you first set up your appointment type. And then I have one set up in our workflow mode. Okay. So let's go into this one here. This is in the classic configuration. You can see here, it's more simplified. Some key things to keep in mind when you're setting up users or appointment types that work with 365 alone is you need to come down here to this PSA options. And I know I'm working in the ConnectWise demo one, but this applies for Autotask. If you're in Halo, it's going to be in workflow mode already. You don't have the classic configuration. So I'll show you where it's at in there as well. But you will want to have it selected to work with the activity or an Autotask the to-do. That way, this is not tied to a ticket, okay? If you are setting up this sales call to work with a ticket, then of course you're going to choose the appropriate selection for working in tickets. Okay. Once you do that, it unlocks this shareable URL section, this last one, which says allow this to be scheduled, but do not create a ticket. Now that personal and team page is using these shareable URL sections. So this has to be set up. And you want it to be because you want to define specific things, okay? Now, if you're working in a ticket, you're going to need to choose where is it going, especially for ConnectWise. You're going to select the board, all the priority. The status is actually going to be a scheduled status, okay? People's instincts is to select new, even though because it's going to create a new ticket if you're using tickets on the board. But it's a scheduled appointment, so it's already coming in scheduled. Okay, when you are using 365 alone and you're not writing to your PSA, it's actually going to skip this contact handling kind of process. It's not going to create new contacts in 365 for you. You are able to set a defined value for the meeting if you would like. So you can put in here it's a sales discovery, or you can leave it open for your prospect or your customer to state what they would like to discuss. And so that's here for you as well. Okay. Any questions about anything I've covered so far? No? Everybody following? Okay, and if you haven't seen chat, Craig's putting in some articles for you. We've got the 365, the team and personal pages, and the shareable URLs, which are the main functions we've talked about today, okay? All right, we're going to discard these. I'm going to pop over to our appointment type that is in workflow mode. Now, if you are nervous of workflow mode, I encourage you to look into it, start do a test appointment type and play around with it. We take all the settings that you've established in the classic configuration and convert them over for you. But what this does is it gives you a lot more features and functionality that you can take advantage of to really make it your own and get what you need out of it. And the reason why I wanted to highlight this to you today is I wanted to show you this main feature here, which is the action to create an opportunity in your PSA. So even if you are scheduling these appointments in 365, you can have it still create an opportunity in your PSA that can be worked, okay? And so you have the ability to come in here and edit the fields. And then that way your team can continue on their process, okay? Let's see here. Things to think of when you're in this workflow mode. Right here is the activity in the PSA. So I mention this because even if you're setting this up to be writing to 365, because we work with both 365 and your PSA, you always have to keep in mind the PSA integration for things to work properly. So if somebody, Bob, who isn't on working directly out of Outlook, uses this to schedule an appointment, it will schedule on his PSA calendar, okay? So you'll want the activity, or in auto tasks, it's a to-do, as well as the event in the 365 calendar. So you'll want to make sure those are there. We do try to automatically put them there, but that's what you'll want to ensure is there. Now, if you're working with tickets, you'll want to come in and add the different actions you need that correlate to tickets. So whether that's creating a new ticket on the appropriate board, which is an action that we have here in the drop down. Okay, so you can create this service ticket, or you can create the schedule entry in the calendar if you're working with tickets. Okay. Let's see. Let's stop sharing here. And I want to see if there's anything specific you guys would like me to share with you or show you. I think we've gone through my list. Craig, if you'll grab the How MSPs Use TimeZest article and share that. I like to ensure everyone has this article. I think it's a fantastic use case collection. A couple of years ago, we actually pulled our customer base as well as just our industry knowledge from working with thousands of you guys. So look through that. One of them is, like I mentioned, like the QR codes, which is fantastic. We finally have them on our business cards, which I'm thrilled about. I also use it in my notebook that I take to conferences with me. So customers can just schedule right there with me. And that's something that you can leverage as well. But there's different appointment type ideas in there. You can also go, when you go to appointment types, at the very top, there's a banner, and that goes to an appointment type library where we have some templates that are already built out in workflow mode. So if you want to kind of get a kickstart, you can go in there and put it on your system and then make adjustments from there. Okay. So these office hours are meant to be kind of quick. Get your interaction and your ideas and questions in front of me as well. So are there any questions? It does not have to be specifically related to this that I can address or show you guys today. More ideas. Yeah. So I think the thing that I usually mention to customers, is like, how do I get, when they're like, where do we use this in our system, right? So we know that it works well for the help desk. If you're not using it for it, that's where we really are strong and we shine. Your project managers can use this. Your VCIOs can use it. If you're scheduling QBRs, we have documentation on the Help Center on how to, kind of automate that process of scheduling QBRs. You can look at it from, thank you, Craig. So you put in there scheduling for sales teams. That's a document where I kind of took all this and just laid it out for you guys to kind of keep step by step as well. But there really is, I have worked with companies that have used us in every aspect of their company. If you're scheduling a meeting, this is something that you can find a way to make it work for that. On-site appointments or in person. I paused because Natasha sent in a question. So her question is there a way to set a limit on how many specific appointment types are booked weekly? Sorry, example, I only want to schedule 3 QBRs a week. Sorry. Okay, here we go. So yes and no. Let me show you how we can make this happen. Okay, so let's go back to TimeZest. I can click all the correct buttons. This is how we would make that happen, okay? So in our appointment type, we have this thing here called appointment type schedule. There's 2 features in appointment types you'll want to leverage, okay? So let's say this is your QBR appointment type. You can come in here and say, combine the availability of the resource. So we're going to still look at what, shift the resource is working, and then combine it with this schedule below. Okay. And you can come in here and say, okay, Natasha, you only want to take QBRs Mondays, and you want to provide the first half of the day on Monday, and you want to provide the second half of the day on Wednesday and Thursday. Okay. That's a way that you can control it, by doing these blocks. So if it's a 2-hour meeting, you can select, your 2-hour block. Just don't put any buffers on the appointment type, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And then when they go to schedule, it's only going to show these 3 options. And if they're filled up, they're filled up. But that QBR appointment type will only schedule 3 for the week. Okay, so that's how you would do that. Now, if you're trying to control for the day how many appointment types are being scheduled, we have this feature here where we try to simplify it a little bit. And you go into scheduling options, and you come down here to appointments per day. So let's say you only want to take 2 sales calls a day. You can put in here 2 sales calls per resource per day. Okay. That's what it will provide. Make sense? Does that answer your question? See if I can find the chat again. Panel scheduling looks great as a way to do multiple attendees, something you do even if you don't need it on a ticket. Yeah, panel scheduling is great. If you have people that are working in, let's say you have a sales resource who needs to pull in a technical resource who is working in the PSA, you can use panel scheduling, and you can pull in that technical resource. So you can pull in your technical resource who works out of the PSA. You can pull in somebody who works out of 365 only. Maybe you pull in an account manager. And then we also have an invite guest feature inside the pod, but also the customer sees it when they go to schedule. And so they can add additional people that they want to attend the session as well. Right here. And so you can include others as well. If you're working out of tickets, this is available to you as the resource being scheduled. So you could put a vendor in there if you needed to, something like that. Okay. Let's see, we have a question here. What happens when a TimeZest schedule with Zoom link is reassigned to a different person? How does TimeZest handle the Zoom link? The Zoom link will be updated to the new resource. Okay, so it has to be completely like the Zoom link has to be redone. So we're going to create a new Zoom link for that person because the rooms are personal to the resources. Make sense? So you need to use the reassign feature. I don't know if you've seen the reassign feature yet. It is new, so we can take a look at that. But under Calendar HQ, this is something new. They're sent, they should be sent an updated confirmation email with that in there, okay? You'll see these are grayed out, and that's because they've taken place in the past, or they are available. But here under the button here, you will see we have the reassign, and that is what would appropriately reassign everything and make sure that Zoom link is updated. So you wouldn't want to just change the resource on the ticket. You'll actually want to use this reassign functionality to make sure the links are all updated appropriately and the customer gets an updated notice of who they're working with and all of that. Okay, that answer your question? Any other questions or anything else I can show you guys today? Awesome. Glad that answers your question. So our office hours are taking place towards the end of each month, working diligently to make sure that that stays on course. And so please, if you're not following us on LinkedIn, that's where we release all the notifications for that. We also try to put it in app, so you guys can see it as well. But last week of the month, I believe next week we're going to try to review Calendar HQ now that it's being released to everybody. Williams, can you show a span of meeting times for onboarding a new client? A span of meeting times. So you're wanting to say, okay, you can onboard next week, Monday through phases. That would be best, William. If you're trying to define, okay, your kickoff meeting needs to be next week between Monday and Thursday, that would be best to do within scheduling within tickets. That means that you have the TimeZest pod right there, and there is under additional options, there's the date and time limits, and you can set those parameters. So you can say, okay, this kickoff meeting, and you would have an appointment type for your different phase meetings, right? So you could have your kickoff, and you could have that one scheduled between, Monday and Thursday, and then you can sit out, for your next session, you can send out a second invite and show the next time period that you're trying to have them schedule. Does that make sense? I feel like made sense in my head. Yep. Okay. Good. Good. Any other questions? This is your guys' time. So while I wait for questions to come in, I really want to encourage you guys to schedule at least an annual, if not biannual, system review with me to make sure, either myself or the team. The link I'm going to give you today is for me personally. I've got Craig working on some projects, and so I'm going to take those, but I really want you guys to make sure that you're meeting with us at least once a year to review your system, make sure that you haven't missed any new feature releases, or that maybe something didn't get turned on. We can run, make sure everything's working perfectly, talk through new use cases for you guys. So Craig's going to put my scheduling link in there. I hope to see some of you schedule some time with me. You can always reach out through chat support. So it's not just break fix. We want you guys to interact with this and say, hey, I'd like to meet with someone to review my system, or I'd like to talk through what new features have come out. You can go through and reach out and chat, and then we'll send you a scheduling link, okay? It is free to meet with me to make sure that your system is working as best as it can, okay? Give it just one more moment. Any last questions or anything you guys would like me to cover for you today? Was this helpful? I hope this was helpful and got your mind thinking of different ways to kind of what's in there. I know those workflow actions, you got to get in there, you got to get your hands dirty and kind of look and see what's available, but there's some really cool stuff in there. And I know that that's what we're going to continue to try to build out for you guys so that you can get more out of it. Craig, if you could put the feature request link in the chat. I know I've thrown you guys out a lot of links today. If you've met with me before, you know that that's the way that I roll, but please submit your ideas. This is really important. We want your ideas to go in front of product. You'll see Jason Kasuga's name in those threads. That is our product manager, and he's brilliant. He'll take your ideas. He'll ask you more questions if he needs them, but please submit your ideas there. If you have ideas for new actions that would make scheduling for your sales teams easier, or you feel like something would make it more widely adopted, please let us know. So we need that, multiple brains coming in to help us make sure that this works for you guys. We're building this to work for your companies. We just got something, it looks like, hold on. Okay, go ahead and submit a ticket for that, please. If it's not working as expected, we want to know. Don't sit on things. So take a screenshot, put it into chat. Craig will look at it. If we can't figure it out, our engineering team is on the standby to help out, okay? Thank you, Josh. We do really value you guys and your input. So I appreciate you all. I'm going to end it for here. Again, the recording will be on YouTube. help@timezest.com is the email to email Craig and support. It is the same location as the yellow chat box, so feel free to reach out to either one. You guys have a wonderful week, and I look forward to talking to you next month. Have a good one, everyone.